Have you heard about this personal and professional podcast?
Coaching in Session
with your host, Michael Rearden.
Let me ask you a serious question. Can you spot the good people in your life? Maybe, maybe not. If you could spot all the good people in the world, would you allow them to be in your circle? Would you allow them to enter your life because you know that they can help with your vision? Now, your vision doesn't only have to be only about yourself, only about your growth. Typically, when a leader, for example, has a vision for a company, they get everyone on board. They create teams and they make sure that the teams work well with each other. They work toward the vision of the company. Now, the goal of the company might be to make money, right? But the vision is different. The vision is we want to maybe put a computer on everyone's desk, or a phone in everyone's hand, or a toaster in every kitchen, or a car in every driveway. I mean, we can go down the list of what the vision is, right? The goal, of course, for all those things is their money-making progress and products, but it's not so much only about the money. The vision is pronounced. So we would have to get really good at making sure our vision is also pronounced. Because in a sense, in our own right, we are leaders of our life. Because we can't delegate our life to someone else. And if you feel as if you are doing that right now, it is not truly under anyone else's control, even if you feel so. Maybe you have a wife that's wearing the pants. I'm just throwing it out as an example. And it might feel as if you don't have a say in the relationship or the marriage. And the answer is no, you do. You have a say. Vice versa, right? The husband wears the pants and the breadwinner or whatever. And it might feel as if the wife doesn't have any responsibilities or say in the marriage. And no, that's not true either. I know we can go down what feminism is and basically how she has to be dependent on a man and she has no rights. And I mean, this is all like the mind being negative, because in a healthy relationship, probably the last thing you're thinking about trying to take control of someone and try to steer them down the wrong path or try to take advantage of them. No, that is not what it is. Typically, when you are getting into marriage, family is so powerful, so strong. But yet, in America and in other parts of the world too, family is something that is a moment. Even though you're connected by blood for the rest of your life, it's almost like we grew up together. We slept in the same house. We slept in the same beds, maybe sometimes. And, we went on the same trips. And then all of a sudden, you live in your house and I have my own family, and I'll see you for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, maybe. But in places like the Middle East, for example, they don't do what Americans do when it comes to family. They'll keep everyone in the same house. They'll buy one Ferrari and everyone has a Ferrari now, right? Everyone shares the Ferrari versus everyone has this individualistic type of mindset. All my assets are separated from my family. And it could be a good thing because maybe someone is not doing the right thing with finances. And I'm not saying that you should give your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your mom, your dad, all your finances, things like that, because it could be a problem. But what I'm saying is instilling the idea of longevity in your relationships, especially if people are in those relationships where you love and you care and you want to see them do good. Right? Typically, it's easy for family to say, I want to see my sister or my brother or my mom or my dad or my son or my daughter or my uncle, my cousins, whoever do good. It's easy to say that. But when we start to put an outside stimulus, now we're getting into the competition aspect of I feel like I'm competing against this family or this company or this individual. And so now those individuals, even though they're competition, they're rivals, but maybe rivals can be even transitioned into another word. They're my enemy. They're a person that I need to defeat. I need to beat. I want to be number one. So now we get into this aspect of, can you spot the good people? the good people who want to share your vision, right? And I'm not talking about just managing people to be a part of your company and then you kind of use and abuse them for 65 years and then send them on their way. What I'm presenting to you today is that in life, you're going to be presented with this concept of an idea or, focus of company, a village, a tribe, family, whatever you want to consider it, and you build it. I think of like movies, like you don't have to like the movies or anything that I'm going to say, right? But like Fast and Furious, they don't call their ideas friends, like all the race cars and stuff like that. Like, this is my friend, this is my associate, we ride together. No, they're family. This is my family. You don't mess with my family, right? And that's why I think people love that movie. Of course, they might like the cars too, but they like the idea of the family aspect of look at this family and look at them struggling and look at them winning together. Oftentimes when it comes to family, it's like we go out, we create our own, and that's that. And it's always this repeating cycle of let me find someone new, right? Let me find someone else to hire. There's companies that have finally figured this out. It's more work to keep hiring people than it is to find the right people. So what if we just found the right people for our life? And I'm not only talking about business people or that are entrepreneurs and stuff like that. I'm talking about in your life too. There's no need for a divorce because you found the right person. There's no need for, lost friendships because you already did the work to make sure that this is a friend for life. I mean, this is a sister for life, a brother for life, a ride or die person for life. What is that for you? I think of, how many people do you truly need in your life? And you don't need many. You need maybe 2 to 5 people, right? And I think people think they need an army. You can build an army. I'm not saying you can't. But at some point, who is going to be in charge, right? You're still the leader, but you have to give that vision to other people and you delegate the task. So everyone else becomes a leader in their own right. There's this idea of classes in schools in Asia, for example, right? Where even though you're in this class, you might be in class 1, 2, or like 1, 1, where you're in your first year and you're in class 1. Now, in those classes, there's representatives that represent the class. Now, those representatives don't necessarily have to be the leaders of the class. They are just kind of going out and they're saying, these are the wishes of the class, right? The vision of the class, if we would, because there's going to be a president of the school, student body, etc. And the president is going to be the beacon, the leader, right? Typically someone with high grades, a model student, right? The teachers can say, this is a good role model for the students to see. And some students are going to fawn over them. Some might say, you know what? This is the person I want to aspire to become or be. There's a good influence when it comes to leadership in school because we're promoting leaders that are peers. Versus in schools today, we don't necessarily have that system. We might have a student of the month. We might have class reps, or we might have rotating jobs where someone does something, but there's not necessarily someone who is a leader until high school. Where now we're focusing on leadership at a time when we should have already mastered leadership. Because now we have all of these young minds who are in middle school running around with their hormones going crazy, picking the wrong friends. They don't know how to choose. They don't know how to be leaders. But what if we gave leadership at a young age? What if we told people that you can be leaders today at any age? It doesn't matter if you're in kindergarten. It doesn't matter if you're in 5th grade. You can be a leader today. But you have to have a keen eye on who you want to entrust things to. Now, this is not to say that you are going to find all the bad eggs and all the rotten apples, and you're going to say that you are a rotten apple and I'm not going to trust anything to you. You are a delinquent and I'm not going to give anything to you. And then that person grows up thinking, oh, no one wants me. Like I'm not fit for leadership. I'm not fit to do things with everyone. And so that person grows up in solidarity. They do things by themselves and they win by themselves, and maybe they live a life by themselves and they're happy. But a true leader is not going to just outcast and leave people behind. The vision is about, let's do this together. because there's always going to be something that someone can do. It doesn't have to be big. It could be small. It could be minute. My kid, for example, he's 2, right? When he wants to come in, help and bring in the groceries, he can't lift heavy things. I can lift all the groceries in one trip, right? I've been training since I was 7 to do that, right? Because why in the world am I going to keep going to this, to the car to get all these groceries when I can do everything in one trip? Now, of course, we had help, all right? My brother would help, my sister would help, and we would all bring in the groceries, and it was nice. It was a fun experience, right? Today, I bring the groceries by myself. Easy, right? Easy peasy. I said, you know what? It's not about what I can just do by myself. It's what I can teach other people to do also for the family dynamic. And so I give them something. I give them something like a bag of salad or something, right? And you can see the focus on that boy's face. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. It's like, all right, I have a mission, right? Men need missions. We need a mission in life. What is your mission as a man? And I'm not talking about to go out and sleep with a bunch of women and to go out and to, drive fast cars and to be like Andrew Tate or something and have all these exotic cars and private jets and stuff like that. I'm not saying you need to be that type of man. You could be whatever type of man you want. You could be a God-fearing man. You could be a man who is a company man. You could be a family man. It doesn't matter what type of man you are, as long as you man up and be the man that you want to become. Don't just fall into your circumstance. Who do you want to keep around you? Would you want someone who is, not confident around you all the time? Would you want someone who is extremely negative around you all the time? I don't want to get into finances, but would you want someone who's always around you borrowing money all the time? Probably not. Probably none of those things. You want someone who has their life together. And it's not your job or obligation to make sure that their life is together. You don't have to make sure that everyone in your circle and everyone in your life is set, right? But what I will say is, when people, they come to me, hey, Mike, can I get some money? Or, hey, Mike, can you take care of me? And I say, well, I'm not going to take care of you. You can take care of yourself, right? We all have, an opportunity here, right? You can make something of the opportunity or you cannot make something of the opportunity. The opportunity is life we're living, right? You can listen to this podcast. You can do something about this. You can take notes. You can turn it off if you really wanted to. But there is something in this episode that you're going to find is going to spark something that's going to change your life. We need to start to see what we are envisioning for ourselves. And we have to have people that come on board. So people, they come, they say, hey, I want this. I say, I'll give you an opportunity. I can give you a job. Tell me your skills. Maybe they don't have any skills. Just tell me your passion. Maybe they don't have any passions. Just tell me your purpose. Is it just to exist? Is it just to make enough so you can go out and maybe buy a 6-pack at the end of the week and so you can forget what type of week you had? I don't need those type of people. I need someone who wants to make a change, who wants to make a difference. And I find so many people going through on the podcast with guests that I resonate with, of course. And you can tell which episodes those are, of course, because the conversation is so real. There's no realer conversation. Of course, you can go to the podcast, like a Red Pill podcast, and they're a lot of fun. And you can go to a podcast where it's an echo chamber and sure, yeah, you resonate with them. But when you come to a podcast like Coaching in Session, I mean, Jesus, you get a wide breadth of people who come on from different walks of life, men and women alike, different orientations, different colors, different cultures, different societies, different countries, maybe different worlds in a sense. Because the world that I grew up in, maybe the ghetto, right? It's a different world there. How you move and how you act and how you speak is very different than if you were in a wealthy neighborhood. Very different. And I like to think of like growing up in the hood as you learn how to walk in a room full of snakes. Not saying that the people on the blocks are snakes, but they can be dangerous in a sense. So you learn how to navigate. You learn how to speak. You learn how to operate, how to act. And it's not in a sense of fear. It's in a sense of understanding your environment. So you know your environment, right? Maybe you know your partner. You know what they like, what they don't like. You're not going to just keep on doing things that they don't like, because then they're going to be upset, right? Then there's going to be some type of disconnection. Then there's not going to be harmony. So there's communication. There's this idea of being open and understanding. And all of this is there to say, can you spot that? Can you see that? Because it's easy to say, hey, I want good things and I want this and I want that, but can you spot it? Can you identify? Can you chase it? Can you be consistent on that chase? Because anyone can say, oh, look at this nice thing in life. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be money. It could be cars. It could be a house. It could be a person, a woman, a guy, or something. You chase them, right? You chase it. But then somewhere down the line, you're like, you know what? This is not me anymore. I'm done with this. Life is not just a temporary, swing of emotions and moments every day. Yes, we have to navigate swings of emotions and we have to navigate obstacles and challenges that we have to face every day. But it doesn't mean that our values are going to change day to day. It doesn't mean that our life is going to have a dynamic shift unless something tragic happens in it. Even if something tragic happens in it, what do we do to recover? What do we do to get back? And the people that you surround yourself with, guess what? That village, that tribe, that family, whoever, they are going to be vying for your victory too. They're not going to just allow you to get eaten by the wolves. Think of how wolves act in general, right? They have the people that need the most protection in the middle, right? The people who are older in the front, so they are keeping or they're setting the pace for the pack. And then you have the people who are the strongest in the back, right? It's not so much that the leaders are always leading, right? The alpha dog, the alpha male is in the back watching everything, making sure nothing happens without his consent. Of course, there's people in the front that are powerful and strong that can handle things until he gets there. There's people in the middle that can protect if something happens, if they get flanked. They're well prepared for whatever comes their way. But in life, we kind of just say, you know what, let's just kind of move through and hope things fall into place. And having conversations. When's the last time as a family you sat and ate dinner and had a conversation? Just talked about what was going on, what was on your mind. And there's no wonder why people are so disconnected when they leave their house, right? You're 18, get out of my house. I don't want to pay your bills anymore. I don't want you to eat my food anymore. Heck, if my kids want to stay with me for as long as they want to stay with me, they can stay with me as long as they want to stay with me. Because I'm not here to kick them out at a certain age. I'm not here to say, hey, you had enough of my pockets or my money or my financial assistance. No, my assistance is ongoing. Even when I'm dead and gone, it's still going to be there. Because the support that I'm giving them, the vision that I have for the family is one that's not only my lifetime, but generations to come. The vision that I'm giving myself for the world is very different than many people give to themselves in a day. Many people are just, I'm going to survive today. Many people are just, I'm just going to go to work today. Many people are just, I'm going to eat something fast today. But they're not doing the work to be methodical about creating teams, about creating systems, about creating change. And the change can happen at any time in your life. And I always tell people, it's like, when do you want that change? Do you want it when you are on the brink of ruin, or do you want it when you are literally on the cusp of something good and great? I hope you want it right now, not when things get rough. And I know people, they listen to the podcast, they listen to the show, and they're like, I'm still okay. And well, why are you not great? Why are you not amazing? Why are you not fantastic? Why are you not killing it every single day? There's many aspects to that, right? Of course, if you have a business, we look at it that way. We have a family, we look at it that way. If you are looking for personal growth, we look at it that way. If you're trying to get in relationships, or you have young minds, young learners, young children, and you're trying to help navigate what's going on in their life and your life at the same time. You need help. You need some assistance. It's a village. It's a tribe. It's a family. You get to decide who you want around you. And so the question is, can you spot the good people in your life? Can you spot good people that are going to help enhance not only you, but the ones around you? Whether you're a company, Fortune 500 company, it doesn't matter. Can you bring in the people that are going to help invigorate and inspire and help people in the company realize the vision once more? Because what I find with companies that fail is that the vision wasn't clear. It's that the people that worked in the company didn't understand the vision. They were never told the vision. They were just asked, show me your resume, tell me your experience. What can you do for me? Rather than this vision is something that we're creating for the world. How can you be a part of that? That's a serious question. If you're a business owner, talk about that. Figure out if they can be a part of that vision. Ask them, are you going to be committed? Are you going to be consistent? Because consistency, especially here with the podcast, 100% important. I tell everyone I hire, consistency. I don't care about results yet. I care about, can you be consistent? Because consistency with the right direction is going to lead to the results. But yet many people, they can't even be consistent. There's something that happens or something that falls through. Life happens. Why did you not prepare for life to happen to you or to the event or whatever it be? Many people, they blame a circumstance. I was late because of traffic. I was late because of a flat tire. I was late because I didn't prepare properly. The ownership on our life is on us. So we need to get very clear on who we're allowing in our life and what we're allowing in our mind. All of these things are components to our success. Now, success is going to be a personal thing, right? Success is going to be derived on what you feel as, is going to be the pinnacle of your existence, right? And of course, success can be repeated. It could be modified. It could be changed. It could be adjusted. It could be increased. It's not something that's going to be definitive and that's going to be set in stone. It's going to be something that's tangible, that you can touch. It's going to be something that you can see, that you can feel, that you can envision, whatever it is, because maybe the idea of it is something that you're like, all right, this is what success is for me. Maybe you get it and you don't feel successful, then success wasn't there. When you feel successful, you will feel it. Or when you get success, you will know it. The question of success, and typically family comes up. They say family is success. When your kids want to come hang out with you on a Saturday, or they want to come hang out with you every holiday, or they want to come hang out with you every other week, or whatever it be, that is success, they say. Versus, oh yeah, success is all my car collection, all my trips in the world, because at some point that becomes porous. It becomes things that are meaningless. Like you go on vacation, how many times can you go on vacation to the same spot before you get bored of it? There's so many wonderful places in the world. Of course, you can keep on going on vacations and trying new things. And it's so funny because my wife, when we go somewhere new, she's like, oh, I want to come back. I always kind of just joke. I go, there's so many places in the world that we can definitely come back. But then, there's other places that are waiting for us too. So she's like, oh, yeah, of course. So we always know our favorites, right? And we always go to places like impromptu places that we love. So we love Vegas. We go to Vegas for a couple of days. If we love Mexico, we go to Mexico a couple of days, right? Impromptu stuff. But big trips, right, are typically something new. 1 week, 2 weeks at a time. If we go to Europe, wherever we go, right? It's something that was planned, right? It's something that is a goal of ours, right? We can say that the trip was a success because we planned for it, right? We haven't had any unsuccessful trips. Yeah, we missed a flight here or there, but that's part of life. It's part of the journey. But typically those trips are some of the most enjoyable, the most fun, right? Because it's the hiccups sometimes that makes you pay attention. It's not the good things in life. Because you can look at all the good things, all the good people in your life, and you take them for granted. You take for granted the moments of opportunity you have today to make change in your life. But when something bad happens, when you have a trauma, you're calling me, you're trying to get a consultation, you're trying to say, hey, how can I change my life? I'm afraid I'm going to lose my job. I'm afraid I'm going to lose my relationship. Well, what were you doing in the first place to make sure that this didn't happen? Nothing. So many people, they are just surrounding themselves with this idea that things are always going to be there. The people that were once there were always going to be there. The people that cared are always going to care, versus understanding that people can work in teams. People can work in a model where if you give them what they need to succeed, they will succeed. But if you give them nothing, they're going to take nothing and they're going to do nothing. And then you're going to expect nothing. And then you're going to wonder why they're even around. And we shouldn't get to that point. We should be sure that we understand fully that the people around us have some level of purpose. I understand they might get on your nerves sometimes, especially family members. Can't tell you how many times I get into arguments with maybe my sister or something like that, or maybe a family member or a friend or something like that. We have a disagreement. Now, there's a difference between when you rise and they rise versus you rise and they stay stagnant. All right, there's a big difference. And then I want to be very clear that it is not your duty or your obligation to make sure people rise when you rise. If people don't want to keep up with the pace that you say is going to be set at the beginning of the hike, then that is on them for giving up. It is on them for them to take the shortcut out. And I remember I had a relationship early on, and she wanted marriage, she wanted kids, right? She was a good girl, right? Wife material. And one day she went hiking, and I said, okay, she was telling me how she went hiking, and then she made it halfway, and she didn't make it to the top like everyone else, or there's a group of people that stayed at the middle part. And I remember me asking her, and she got combative. And I said, oh, wow, this is interesting, right? Like, why are you getting combative about not making it to the top? Even though that might be insignificant to many individuals listening or just people in general, it screams, pay attention to me. Because if you give up halfway on a hike and the hike is the top, right? It wasn't the halfway point. What would that be in marriage? What would that be in the commitment of vows? What would that be in the idea of friendship, right? Are you going to quit when the going gets tough? Are you going to stop when you get tired? I didn't want someone like that. I didn't need someone like that. I can spot people, or I still can. I can spot people who are going to do things on their own accord, and they won't do things past it. Of course, there's going to be compromise. I understand. Right? But to be combative also shows there's something else going on. There's something that they're not showing me. The true personality. You get really good at identifying people when you're in a position of leadership. You get really good at understanding people and seeing people when you pay attention to life. Learn about humans, right? Learn about the psychology of the brain. And you can start to see who should be in your circle and who should be out of it. Because there's that famous saying, if you show me your friends, your 10 friends or whatever, I'll show you your future. Or if you hang around 9 broke people, you're going to be the 10th. If you hang around 9 rich people, you're going to be 10th. All of these things are going to be related to people you keep around you. So of course, yes, you might keep your family around you. Maybe there's somebody in your family who, even though you would love to bring along on that journey, maybe they're just not able to do it. They don't want to bring in the commitment for that journey, and that's perfectly fine. It's their life to live. It is not your duty or obligation to make sure that people keep up. So you find and you spot the people and you build the teams, and from there, you're going to start to see everything in your life transcend. Now, of course, there might be hiccups, there might be ups and downs, there could be a lot of uncertainty along the way. But if you find the true people in your life that inspire you, that give you the momentum, that give you the hope, that give you the effort, you can create something good. And if you can create something that is a strong vision for not only yourself, but for everyone else around you, then we can get into that conversation of what success is and what greatness truly means. Because greatness or winning without anyone else is like being at the top, right? They say it's lonely at the top. Because greatness or winning by yourself is great, but winning together or as a team is paramount. So find the team, find the people, find the influences, the mentors, the guys, the coaches, all the people that might be able to change your life. I do my best to bring them on here in Coaching in Session. Of course, stay tuned to see more wonderful episodes. You can always email me if you're looking for a specific episode. I remember all the guests that come on. If you say, hey, I'm looking for this type of episode, I can put you in the right direction very quickly. I can say, listen to this episode, reach out to this person. Now, of course, it might be remote because, of course, the coaches are all around the world. They might not just be here in America. They might not just be in Europe or in the UK or in Austria or in Ukraine or Russia. They could be anywhere in the world. And you just have to be able to get on a Google or a Zoom meeting and say, hey, I'm looking for some help. I'm looking for some guidance. I tuned into your episode and I was inspired by you. From there, you see if it's a good fit. Because when you start to put more good fits in your life and good people in your life and good influences and good mentors, then you start to get the concoction of creating the person that you were destined to be, the person that you can become. It's not so much of let life happen to me and I will naturally become into the person that I was. And it's not that. If you get a bunch of wood and a bunch of stone and a bunch of cement and you throw it in a pile and you say, build a house, it doesn't work that way. You have to build the house yourself. You have to hire people to build the house or whatever it be. You might have the resources. You have the skill. If you have the resources and you have the skill, do you have the time? And if you have the resources, the skill, and the time, do you have the vision of what the home will look like? And when you get all of those put together, then you can finally say, this is what I'm trying to build. And this is life. What life are you trying to build?